We react to YouTubers trying to copyright the word reactions. Why Instagram is the new Netflix. And do you want Google Now in your bathroom? No, you do not. All that and more on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1441, recorded Tuesday, February 2nd, 2016.
This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by FreshBooks, the super simple cloud accounting software that's giving thousands of freelancers and small businesses the tools to save time billing and get paid faster. Try it free at freshbooks.com/TNT.
And by NatureBox. NatureBox is dedicated to making smart, delicious snacking easy. They have over 100 ridiculously delicious snacks that get delivered directly to your doorstep. Visit naturebox.com/twit to get 50% off your first box now.
Hello and welcome to Tech News Today. This is the show where we talk about the tech news with people who are passionate about technology. I am Megan Morrone.
And I am Jason Howell. How's it going, Megan?
It is going good. You were out of the office today. I was by myself in the office.
I'm sorry. I worked from home for a large part of today. Tuesdays are difficult. It's just a lot of back-to-back stuff.
I know. You go from here to the next show, so I understand. Mm-hmm. We slacked.
We didn't really. Okay.
So
you're right.
Okay. Slack.
We used Slack. All right.
To communicate. We didn't
For a
slack.
second there, I was like, hey, wait a minute. What are you talking about? I wasn't slacking.
No,
but you're right. We were slacking.
We sent some GIFs to each other.
Slack has been pretty integral to our production.
It has.
And I love it. Maybe we'll talk about Slack someday.
This show. They do not sponsor this show.
No, but maybe we'll talk about them someday with a news story or something. But we're not going to do that today. Instead, we are going to introduce Liberty Madison, a.k.a. That Tech Girl. How's it going, Liberty?
Great. How's it going?
Awesome. It's good to have you here on the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of tell people a little bit about, well, what's your story? I mean, libertymadison.com I know is where we can find everything about you, but what's your beat, if there was such a thing?
I would say my story and my passion is really about entrepreneurship through technology for millennials. So I focus on the startup life for millennials and getting them really excited about technology. And that's pretty much what I talk about, is finding out what your passion is, helping people and encouraging them to learn hard technical skills, taking that to the next level, either working at a tech company or launching their own app, and really focusing on what's going on here in Silicon Valley.
Nice.
Well, we are excited that you're here for the whole show.
And we've got a couple
of
stories that I think are going to be perfect for your wheelhouse.
So our friend Sam Machkovech over at Ars Technica posted a piece on the ever-evolving Fine Brothers controversy. In case you don't know, Sam is here. He can explain to you who the Fine Brothers are and what happened this week.
Hey guys. So the Fine Brothers, you may not know their faces. You may not have quite heard their name, but up until last week, it's very likely that you would have known them by their series of react videos, meaning they take a camera, set it up, and film people watching or doing other things. For example, older folks playing Minecraft, or older folks trying out like a horror video game, or kids and teenagers trying out toys from the 70s and 80s. The Fine Brothers have quite an empire as a result, 13, 14 million subscribers on YouTube, all that sort of thing. So they decided to broaden their empire, which is where the news sort of came in this past week, when they announced initiatives to create something called React World. That was sort of sold to the world as an idea of, oh, do you want to make your own React videos, but perhaps in other countries or in other specialties we don't do, where you film people reacting to things? Go ahead and pay us for a license, because clearly you need their pre-built structure to film old people freaking out about Teddy Ruxpin. Anyway, the internet already didn't care so much for that, seeing those, what their idea wasn't necessarily the most original to begin with. But then people started snooping around and realizing they'd filed some trademarks. They filed a trademark for the word react. Let me look up the exact term. It was a very narrow genre that they wanted to trademark. The word reacting as describing programs and webisodes via the internet in the field of observing and interviewing various groups of people. So, it's a very narrow subset of a bunch of things that could be filmed. And And had nobody really noticed, they might have gotten away with it. They were actually in line for the 30-day trademark review period, which I'm learning a lot about the USPTO office. That didn't happen. The Fine brothers last night sort of ended the story, at least for now, by coming out and saying, that trademark we filed, that React World initiative, and all those takedown notices that we filed in the past week, we're going to back off of that. Sorry, Internet. We're not going to do any of that stuff. We get that our subscriber counts are tumbling by the hundreds of thousands every day ever since this was announced. So we're backing off of all of that. Complete formal apology.
Okay, so Liberty, you have an online community. You seem to know how the internet works, how the young people work the internet these days. Now, I would like you to react to this story.
Oh my gosh!
So where do you think the Fine brothers? Where do you think the Fine brothers went wrong here?
I think they went wrong announcing it before the ink dried. They almost had it, like Sam said. They were on the 30-day trial period, so they could have seriously snuck this by us and no one would have known anything. But I think people, especially YouTubers and people that have an online community and online persona, they tend to talk about every single step of their life. And, before the ink is dried, before it's out there, they've already let people know. And that gives people the opportunity to kind of intersect and shut it down. So I think that's one where they went wrong. But after you read more into the story and learn more about what they were doing, they were trying to compare themselves to different businesses, saying, hey, this is just something that we're trying to, since we started this and we've grown an empire out of it, this is something that we feel we have a stake in. And I think they went wrong with the licensing, attempting to have YouTubers license that, not even technology, you're licensing a concept to people that can film something on their phone. It was just a bit ridiculous. I mean, YouTube can't get people to pay to watch YouTube. So the fact that they're trying to get YouTubers to actually pay them to do React videos, I think is insane.
It really is. I mean, I am my favorite YouTuber is Miranda Sings, who now has a Netflix show. But she is how I found out about this Kids React, because she did Miranda Sings reacts to kids reacting to Miranda Sings. And I mean, that's how YouTube works. That's how the internet works.
It's all remix culture.
Yeah,
right?
we all talk about each other, and that's how everybody learns about it. So I don't understand why they didn't get this.
Yesterday, I was entranced by a YouTube live video stream of the subscriber count plummeting. So you could watch in real time a YouTube live stream that was just the blown up subscriber count just kind of dropping every 5 seconds, piece by piece. I think what's interesting about this for me is that this is a direct indication of just how important the audience is to internet content, and specifically content created by other people, and not like businesses or corporate entities, but other people that have just kind of they've struck a chord with a large percentage of YouTube fans, let's say, and by and large, it's easy to kind of identify with a lot of these people that are making these videos. You watch them and you say, oh well, I could do that, and hey, check it out, they've done that and they've made it big and they've got these huge subscriber counts and all that kind of stuff. They've made a business out of it. But this just goes to show, like, you're not immune to this sort of thing. You could make a false move, a wrong move, and have your entire subscriber count revolt, and there goes your business. And that's exactly what happened here in like a day, which is kind of
I'm not
impressive.
even sure what they're trying to trademark or what they're, like he said, it's so loosely based as to interviewing a group of people. Yeah. Can they own this conversation? Because we seem to be a group of people doing an interview. Do they own this? Should we contact them? Should we write a check to the Fine brothers? I'm confused about that. So
I think what was interesting about the YouTube reaction as well was it didn't even really matter so much, because the public perception and the YouTube drive to talk about it went so fast that there were so many people who made funny metatastic React videos reacting to React videos. One of my favorites was a video game creator watching kids react to his video game and then reacting to that, and basically spending the whole time making fun of the Fine brothers, making fun of the fact that they use known child actors in their random teen selection and things like that. So it really gave people a lot of opportunity to just lambaste them in a way that probably wouldn't have happened. It's not a bottom line issue as much as just a general internet reputation deal.
Yeah.
Well, they apologized on Medium, and what I found interesting is, I immediately read their apology, and I was like, I'm going to go in the comments and see what people are saying about them. And they did not disable comments, but they disabled the ability to view comments. So if you scroll to the bottom of the Medium post, it says, you can comment, but we've decided not to show responses on this story, which
they're really limiting the reactions, aren't they?
Exactly. I wanted to see the reaction. And you did not limit comments on your story, Sam. And there was a point that there was a lot of comments on there. One of the comments said, well, I guess complaining on the internet really works after all, which is interesting because I think we're in a time where there's a lot of people that immediately complain on the internet. And it's almost like I don't agree with what the Fine Brothers did, but I feel like every day there's some story where someone makes a wrong move and then everyone piles on them in this sort of public shaming. And I'm reading a book that I told you about, Sam, called So You're Now Publicly Shamed by John Ronson. I highly recommend it. And it is sort of all this, when you make a wrong move, you say something wrong on Twitter, and all of a sudden everyone piles on you. And in a worse way than maybe your original move was.
Interesting.
Not that I feel sorry for the Fine Brothers, but
I feel like if they were actually just trademarking their company as React World or something in that respect, that seems fine. You should definitely, they're famous for React videos. If their company's React World, that's great. But I think them requesting that other people take down their React videos, that was a bit too far.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for reporting on this. We're going to let you go, and we will talk to you again on Friday.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Sam.
Bye.
All right, shifting gears a little bit. Yahoo had its earnings call today, and the company is about to experience some pretty significant changes with a new strategic plan announced by CEO Marissa Mayer during the call. So basically, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Before we get to kind of the changes, $1.27 billion in revenue for the quarter. That's up 1.5% year over year, so it's a slight increase. Beat expectations, by the way, so that's good. They do have plans to lay off around 15% of the workforce, 9,000 employees roughly, and around 1,000 contractors. 5 office closures around the world, which is actually going to save them around $400 million annually. And they're kind of refocusing on user engagement. They're going to slim down their product line, getting rid of some underperforming products, that sort of stuff. Flickr wasn't anywhere in the discussion, so it's hard to know whether Flickr might actually see the chopping block or not. You don't really know. Yahoo Games, Yahoo Smart TV are getting shut down. So yeah, we're going to see hopefully a panicking, well, not hopefully, but I think we're going to see a panicking kind of focus on this while, from what I understand, the Yahoo board says that they're open to these financial strategic moves, which hints at possibly a buyout of some sort.
So, yeah, they don't really want to sell, but I guess they said they would if they had to, if all these shedding of employees and expenses, they're going to cut expenses by over $400 million a year. So I don't know.
There's such a legacy at Yahoo, and it's time and time again, it really seems like anytime they try and make a big move, because the last however many years, I feel like they're constantly quote air quotes reinventing themselves and trying to focus. There's a whole generation that I don't even think really considers Yahoo necessarily. What do you think about that, Liberty?
I would have to agree with you as far as a whole generation that doesn't consider Yahoo. Before I came on the show today, I honestly forgot Yahoo existed.
Well, that's not a good thing.
What, do you have a Tumblr? Did you ever tumble?
I have to tell you, I do tumble, and I am very active on Tumblr. However, I'm active on Tumblr based on Facebook, based on their need to aggregate from Instagram. So built into your Instagram application, you can post out to Tumblr. So that's how I'm active. I probably have logged on to Tumblr once or twice a year, maybe. But I know that Tumblr is a very important property for them. And I would definitely say for Yahoo, they kill it with the homepage. Like, they really kill it with their homepage. But I think for them overall, they take a Google approach. They want to try all these different products, throw it at the wall and see what sticks. That's not working for them. So I think they need to take an Apple approach and say, hey, we've got 6 products. Do you like these 6 products? If you like these 6 products, then you should come over to us. And I think they should definitely do that and streamline. But you mentioned Flickr. I think Flickr is something they should definitely hang on to and focus on as well.
Yeah, they've even tried to kind of revive Flickr. You know, Flickr had had the world in its hands there for quite a few years, and then suddenly, you know, it got totally surpassed, and then in effect, kind of totally forgotten. So it's and they've rejiggered the service since then, and it hasn't really changed a whole lot. So
well, before that, they had search in their hands too. I mean, they had that back in the day. They used to be a search engine, Liberty.
Oh, right, that's right. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, I noticed that they're trying to hang on to that, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of Apple, Apple is going to help me celebrate my birthday this year with a planned March 15th event.
They did that on purpose.
They did it on purpose. They're going to show off, allegedly, a new, smaller iPhone that we've been talking about on this show, a new iPad, and new Apple Watch band options. This is according to 9to5Mac, who also says that this smaller iPhone will cost about $450 for the 16-gigabyte version, which is not big enough for anyone. But that's the same as the 5S. And rumor has it the iPad Air 3 will also include enhanced speakers and a smart connector like the iPad Pro. So, yeah, just some rumors about an announcement that may turn into, false rumors. It may just be online.
Gurman's usually pretty solid on his sources, so.
But even he said that it could turn.
Yeah,
he hedged his bets. Like it probably won't be like the fall event, and we probably won't see a brand new watch, but we'll see, maybe new watch bands.
Are you excited about a smaller iPhone? Tell me what you think about that, guys. A smaller iPhone?
No, I like I have the 6 Plus, and I can't even stand this. The 6 is too small for me. So, yeah, I guess that there are people that are excited about it, people with tiny hands. That's not me.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely so by the way, Liberty, I don't have an iOS device. Well, I have an iPad, one of the iPad minis at this point, but I don't have an iPhone. I'm an Android device user. So I'm very used to like the behemoth phones. You know what I mean? Like the gigantic phones. And the strange thing about it is the majority of times that I talk to people who, were adamantly opposed to the larger phone, once they kind of do it and, upgrade or use it for a little bit and really kind of get invested in it, it's really hard to go backwards. But there is a minority of people that do like the one-handed approach, and they want a smaller device. And at least in the Android side of things, the specs, the high-end specs don't necessarily always end up on the smaller devices. It's always saved for the larger devices. And see, I mean, it seems like that's kind of a piece of what Apple is doing here with the 5SE, if that is what they're going to end up calling it. Smaller, maybe not as high performing, but possibly good enough.
Right, and the battery can't last as long because it's small too. That's part of why I love the 6 Plus, the bigger phone, bigger, longer battery.
Amazon is at the top of the heap when it comes to online shopping, as you probably already know, and now it wants to get into brick and mortar in a bigger way, let's say, according to Sandeep Mathrani. He's the chief executive of General Growth Properties. If you've never heard of General Growth Properties, they operate a number of regional malls throughout the U.S., and on his company's earnings call, he basically said, quote, "You've got Amazon opening brick and mortar bookstores, and their goal is to open, as I understand, 300 to 400 locations." So it's kind of hard to know like exactly what to take from this, right? Like it could be a total slip up. It could be a hearsay thing. Regardless, it was on an earnings call. So you have to imagine that if a CEO is putting something on an earnings call, at least they feel confident enough in it to talk openly about it to, the people who hold stock in the company. So I don't know. There's probably some truth to this. What do you guys think?
I don't know.
There's definitely truth.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there will be stores. There will be more. I don't know. The 300 to 400 seems like he might have just been, making that up to make malls look better.
He's in the mall business after all. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. They have kiosks. Amazon has kiosks in malls, and they do have a store in Seattle. So there could be more. But I don't know. If I'm going to go to a bookstore, I want to go to the local independent bookstore nearby. Like I don't, and
but
then I secretly
when you shop
buy
online,
things
you want to shop
at
Amazon, right? Because you're a Prime user.
Right.
I agree with Megan. I believe definitely that they are looking to get into the brick and mortar game. They're looking to do that. I'm not sure about the 300, 400 rollout, but I will disagree with you on this one. If they are rolling 300 to 400 stores, yes. Awesome. As a Prime user, I would love to see them do that. That way, if something goes wrong with my package, I can actually return it back to Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh, good point.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And you have to
I
imagine.
never return anything back.
Yeah, you have to imagine that they're going to extend their Prime benefits at least in some way into the store and not totally disregard their most ardent, user base, essentially. Now, just to kind of put it into perspective, 300, 400, Barnes & Noble operates 640 stores currently. Of course, you could say that Barnes & Noble is, potentially a shell of what it used to be. The strange thing is Amazon kind of put all of these brick and mortar stores out of business. And now they're, potentially moving into it. I guess that's one way to dominate.
I haven't even my first job out of college was at a Borders bookstore. Borders does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
This was
Rest in peace,
1995, and that was around the same time that Amazon was starting. And Amazon came in with they had these bookends advertisements for their service, and we were all like, "Oh, look, that's great! You could buy books on the internet." And, of course, Borders doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And now, Amazon's probably going to move into some of their old buildings.
I mean, total speculation, but if this whole drone delivery thing is happening, this could really amplify the points of delivery, right? So you could have drones taken off from all these stores potentially, depending on how Amazon sets it up, and have closer points of delivery for their drone army or whatever it's going to be called. So I don't know.
Well, they're definitely all about logistics, so that definitely helps in there.
Sure.
Makes sense. All right. Well, speaking of books, you've heard of novels that have been written on Twitter. Now there's a scripted series released in 15-second snippets on Instagram. It's called Shield 5. It's a thriller with episodes released throughout February at 5 p.m. GMT. I spent 30 seconds. I spent a good 30 seconds of my time watching this.
We're watching
thriller.
an episode right now. Concentrate on the episode.
Liberty,
Concentrate on all the details. He looks at the camera and falls down. That's it.
Yeah, then you watch it again and again and again. Liberty, what do you think about a thriller on Instagram?
This is a very interesting subject and very dear to my heart because I tell people this all the time. They look at me like I'm crazy. I watch a lot of my content on Instagram. So I've been watching series on Instagram for at least a year. And I love series on Instagram. It's amazing. I love it. And you watch your 15-second clips. They upload them in a row. They let you know when they're going to be out. And you can comment with other people directly. So I already watch series on Instagram. Do you guys not watch Instagram series?
Number one, no. I really need to remember to use Instagram a whole lot more than I ever do. But I think you're confirming kind of what my thought was on this, which is in the traditional sense, breaking a 4-minute video, let's say, into 15-second chunks, and remembering to go back and watch that 4-minute video, however long it is, somewhere around there, in 15-second chunks over the course of however many days sounds ridiculous. But to the users of services like this, and to users of services like Vine that are used to these short clips or whatever, that's just how they do it anyways. So then delivering content that's tailored to that platform in a way that they're used to using it, but then stretching it out, actually, maybe it ends up being a value add for those hardcore users that are like, oh, well, now I get a long form story in this experience that I'm very used to. And so it doesn't sound as strange in that regard.
Yeah, no, it sounds strange to me. I do follow Amber MacArthur, who used to work on this network, and she does a series called 15-Second Tech. So I guess it's not a fictional series. It's just little 15 seconds, and I watch them, and I'm always so impressed because I basically can't get through an entire sentence in 15 seconds.
Right. She packs a lot of information in there.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we could do this show in 15 seconds, but probably it's going to be more about 55 minutes. Sorry.
Well, it's really with the comedy clips and if you follow particular YouTubers and Instagrammers and Instagram stars and Twitter stars, and I follow a lot of content creators, and they make it, just as Jason was saying, per the platform. So if the platform is in 15-second increments, they take specific content and wrap it that way, and it really gives you this hook, and it brings you back for each 15 seconds, and they let you know, hey, we release every Tuesday, and you can watch a series, and it turns out typically to be about 9 pieces of video, and it's very exciting to go through each one. It's just so, it's like unwrapping a present every 15 seconds. It just blows my mind. It's kind of like the Nary Y'all hook they hook you, and you're just going through the whole kind of pipeline there.
I just remember when Vine came out, and there, if ever there was a discussion around, like, let's say film piracy or movie piracy or whatever, think about how ridiculous the thought was about, well, you could post that film to YouTube and get away with it for a little bit, or you could break it up into 6-second chunks and post it on Vine. You probably, but no one would ever do that. No one would ever want to watch a whole, feature-length film like that. Maybe they would. Strangely,
totally
maybe
would.
they would actually.
I would. I'm not going to say they. I'm going to say
okay.
I.
All right. There we go. Maybe you would, Liberty.
Well, I think 15 seconds is sometimes all the time I have. I mean, I've been trying to watch Ex Machina on Netflix, and I really only have 25 minutes until I fall asleep. And it's a great movie. I always fall asleep in great movies, never in bad movies, weirdly. But yeah, it's like I just watch it in 25-minute chunks because that's about as much time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't intended to be watched that way, but that's how I have time to do it.
Yep. I hear that. All right, finally, just a quick follow-up that Microsoft is delivering on its plan to recall 2.25 million AC power cables that could potentially catch on fire. We talked about this, I think it was last week. If you bought a Surface Pro tablet before March 15th, 2015, or if you own a Surface Pro 3, you'll probably do a replacement. You can find information on the replacement on Microsoft's site in the support area for its Surface devices, and I highly suggest that you do because fire is bad.
Yes, no fire.
Yeah.
But speaking of fire, we are going to talk about other things that might blow up. Sean O'Kane from The Verge joins us in a minute to tell us if your hoverboard is about to explode. But first, let's take a minute to thank FreshBooks. If you're a freelancer or you run a small business, chances are that there are a very short list of things, might be a long list, that you might want to make you give up that flexible lifestyle. 1, rummaging through receipts, trying to keep track of all your expenses. 2, creating, formatting, and sending invoices. Nobody likes that. And the worst, tracking down customers who don't pay you on time. FreshBooks is a super simple cloud accounting software that is giving thousands of businesses just like yours, the tools to save time, billing, and get paid faster. Getting started on FreshBooks could not be easier, even if you're not a numbers person. You'll be creating and sending invoices in minutes and get paid online right away with FreshBooks payments. You can get paid up front. Now you can request a deposit in FreshBooks. No more covering costs out of pocket or waiting until the end of a project to get paid. Plus, FreshBooks recently announced their new card reader. Now you can easily accept credit cards wherever business takes you, quickly and securely, right from your iPhone in less than a minute. FreshBooks card reader is EMV enabled. That's the new chip card. It's the new standard in the U.S. They have an entirely redesigned iPhone app that you can use to conduct business anywhere you are. You can send an estimate right after the handshake, send an invoice in seconds right on your phone. It's so easy to track all your billable time. Now you'll know how long your projects really take, so throw away that shoebox of documents. Track your expenses on the spot using your iPhone's camera. All this allows you to focus on what you love the most, growing your business. You'll wonder why you didn't start with FreshBooks sooner. If you have questions, help is free forever, and you can always count on FreshBooks award-winning support rock stars to go above and beyond whenever you need a hand. Getting started is simple, and it's totally free for 30 days. Go to freshbooks.com/TNT, and don't forget to enter Tech News Today in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Start your 30-day free trial today, and we thank FreshBooks for supporting this episode of Tech News Today. So back in October, Verge reporter Sean O'Kane came on this show to talk about the next big thing, hoverboards. Oh, those were the halcyon days before we were afraid of hoverboards exploding and burning our house down. Sean is back today to tell us why all might not be lost in terms of hoverboard safety. Welcome, Sean O'Kane, reporter at The Verge.
How you doing?
Thanks for coming on. So tell us about the new certification process from Underwriters Labs.
Yeah, so UL is this company that does sort of inspection, certification, auditing for everything from everyday gadgets to indoor air quality. I mean, they run the gamut, and they came out today and announced that they're going to start accepting hoverboards from manufacturers and distributors who want to get this new certification that they've come up with, UL 2722. And so basically these manufacturers or distributors can submit their product to UL, and they'll be able to go in, look at the electronic components, specifically the battery, the charger, and everything that keeps seeming to catch fire around the world, and they'll be able to basically identify whether or not it's all put together right and whether or not it's going to be able to withstand the sort of batteries that are in there. UL has already been certifying some of these components on a separate basis because these hoverboard companies are sourcing them for the most part from companies that we've heard of before. So they're already UL certified. But what they're doing today is something that will essentially give it a new certification for the whole package and basically say this company did their due diligence and made sure that this specific battery will work in this way and you won't have to worry about it. But they do have some, if you look at the page that you guys have up right now, actually, they did put up some general guidelines that are pretty smart for anybody who has one right now that you might want to follow. Don't charge them overnight, don't overcharge them, things like that.
I thought that one was particularly yes, it makes perfect sense. Don't charge it overnight because you plug it in and the next thing you know, your house is on fire. But that's exactly what people are going to want to do, right? Because it takes a while to charge these things up. So you set it, it's ready for you in the morning. Kind of a bummer you can't do that, but I guess I understand.
So
it's tough because we've gotten a really big habit with all our gadgets of just charging them and letting them go as long as possible.
Yep.
So you said that they're now sourcing it from reliable sources, the batteries and such, but that wasn't the case before Christmas, but now it's the case that many hoverboard creators are sourcing them from known places?
There are still some companies that are probably trying to get away with it. If you go to the Wirecutter and iFixit just did a teardown of one of Swagway's. Swagway is one of the leading brands, and they did a teardown of one of their boards, and they found out that they're sourcing their batteries from LG and some components from some other places. So we found out that some of these companies are using legit components and starting to at least put them together in a safer way. And that was before Swagway even introduced a new version at CES that they said is going to be even more fireproof. So some of them are starting to come around, but there's still just too much of a race to the bottom in price for some of these other companies that have been making less safe ones to really give up. I think that's the sad truth right now is that because there are so many smaller companies that are trying to, outsell Razer, outsell Swagway by undercutting them by $400 or $500 and selling a board that's around $200. There's just no way that they're going to be able to put together a safe product and go through a certification process like this. So for a while, I think we're still going to see some of those companies at the low end. But it seems like it's turning a corner. Now the problem is, where the heck do you ride these things?
Right, exactly. It's kind of against the rules, against the law. Well, I don't know. Is it totally outlawed in certain places? I know that it's like in New York, you're not supposed to be on the sidewalk with these things. But
yeah, in a lot of places, it's considered illegal. You'll get a fine of upwards of $100, $200. In some places, it's just restrictions. Like in California, you have to be, I think it's 16 or older, and you have to be wearing a helmet, and it has to be speed limited. So it's different in different states right now, at least here in the United States. And but it's getting harder in New York for sure. New York, it's been illegal, even though some politicians have been pushing to try and make it legal in certain, like in bike lanes or things like that. But they haven't been able to make any headway. And in the meantime, the MTA went a couple weeks ago and banned them from everywhere. You can't even bring these down into a subway station now.
Skate parks have often been the safe haven for stuff like this, but I don't know if that necessarily works for these hoverboards with all the hills and everything.
I assume that squeaking that we hear is not someone's hoverboard exploding, but someone's dog with a toy, right?
Yeah.
So none of them have been officially recalled, right?
No, the closest thing that we've had to that is officials in the UK right before Christmas confiscated a bunch of them that were coming into the country. They confiscated about 15,000 of them, but that's the closest thing we've had to it. There have been some other close brushes where retailers have pulled them, but there haven't been any recalls on like a really big level. And that's mostly because there isn't one big company that's been making these. There's any of these companies, if they were found to be selling something very unsafe, are probably just going to go under. They don't have the power for a recall. But now that we see a company like Razer in the mix and companies that are getting bigger like Swagway, I don't see why there couldn't be a recall at some point. But right now it's just some retailers won't carry them. And some retailers like Amazon are offering refunds depending on which ones you've bought.
So was this really, a patent issue? Why did they all of a sudden come on the scene, so many of them and so many from China, and no one says, I did this first? Like, why didn't that happen?
Well, what's funny is there's two companies that are sort of locked in that legal battle over just the general patent of like what this thing is. And because they're just sort of locked in that battle right now and it hasn't sorted out, all these other companies had time in the meantime to start cranking on it. BuzzFeed did a really great report a couple months ago on these factories that are pumping these out in China and how there are some different companies. But what's really fascinating is that all these sort of companies you've never heard of that are making these things and selling them to distributors in the US who are rebranding them, all these companies that are making them in the first place are not companies that were just founded just to make this thing. You know, weeks before they started making a hoverboard, they were making something else on a mass consumer level. So it's not really anything that's going to change there. Like it's until that legal battle between Inventus and I can't remember the other company right now that's locked in the patent battle with them changes. I don't think that these companies in China are going to stop pumping them out, at least until people stop buying them.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, because this is a voluntary thing, how many of those companies are actually going to go through the process of doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that you can hope for with this certification is that it definitely is voluntary, but UL is, you know, an industry standard bearer, and to get your hoverboard into retail shops, and people are going to start looking for them there as opposed to, you know, oh, the cell phone guy at the mall will sell me one. You know, people are going to start looking for these in retail stores, and so to get them there, companies are going to really want this certification, and so it's voluntary, but I think there's enough power behind what UL is doing to make it really attractive for at least the top end companies to want to go through this certification process.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for joining us. Sean O'Kane is a reporter at The Verge, and O'Kane 2 at O'Kane 1.
Yeah.
You're the first O'Kane 1, not the second on Twitter. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Appreciate it. All right, hey, we got an email. Bernie Lee asks, with Facebook launching this new way to broadcast video, it's live broadcast. It's live video broadcast for iOS to start. Does YouTube have anything in the works that'll be comparable to broadcast live video from mobile? And strangely, there aren't a whole lot of options here. The first to kind of do this in a mobile way was HTC's Recamera. It's like a little periscope-looking standalone camera that, at the push of a button, broadcasts live directly to YouTube. So there's that. So you know that it kind of exists on a mobile level, but you don't have those inside a phone. There's no Re-app or anything like that that will allow you to do that without the hardware Re-device. YouTube has its YouTube Gaming app for Android, at least, that it released a couple of months back. That allows you to do live streaming of your gameplay on your mobile device, and it also allows to kind of channel your video feed from the front-facing camera while you're doing that. So that's one way to live stream to YouTube, but nothing in the way that Bernie is asking here. And quite frankly, Liberty, I feel like this is such a missed opportunity for YouTube, and I don't understand why it doesn't exist yet, because I'm sure a lot of people would love to do this. What do you think?
I think that at this point, it is a missed opportunity for YouTube. However, I know a couple of startups that are working on properties that will solve this exact problem. So I can say that in the past, it's been a missed opportunity, but people are recognizing that it's something that creators want, and it's something that people want to be able to do. And I can say that, again, I can't say who they are, but they are working on technologies to solve that problem.
Yeah, it's interesting that that has to happen. I mean, YouTube has the power, has the control, and you have to imagine that eventually YouTube is going to open this up at some point. BuzzFeed actually reports today that sources are familiar with YouTube's plan to bring live 360-degree streaming to the platform. We don't know specific details beyond that at this point, and we don't know exactly how that would get integrated into mobile. Like, if whether you could do that from a mobile device, you'd have to have a mobile device that shoots 360-degree video, I suppose. But hey, crazier things have happened in this world of trying to differentiate your devices from everyone else. So could happen. But yeah, Bernie, there is no easy like YouTube specific option for doing this, and it kind of blows me away that there isn't. There should be. A lot of people would use it.
Do you do a lot of live streaming, Liberty?
I don't do a lot of live streaming. And if I do, I live stream on Periscope. I have half of this interview currently on Periscope.
I was wondering if you were live streaming before. I was like, is she on Snapchat? Is she? Yeah.
I did a couple of Snapchats, and then I'm like, you know what? Let's just Periscope it. Let's live stream. I love live streaming. I love Periscope. I think it's amazing where you can actually interact with someone, and they're a world away, and then they're like, "Hi, Liberty, how are you doing? You know, how are you doing?" And I love that aspect about Periscope. So that's my live streaming aspect, and I really haven't had an opportunity to do it on YouTube. So in the future, I definitely see myself doing that.
Yeah. Well, coming up, mirror, mirror on the wall, can you tell me how long it's going to take me to get to work today because my phone's in the other room? But first, let's take a minute to thank NatureBox. You'll understand what I mean in a second. This episode is brought to you by NatureBox. NatureBox is the AAA of snacks. This box is full of deliciousness. Every single packet inside, the second you open it, you're hit with a wall of yum, if that makes sense. When hunger strikes, don't reach for that half-eaten bag of chips. Be prepared with smart and delicious snacks from NatureBox. All of NatureBox's snacks are made with high-quality ingredients that you can trust. Trying to eat healthier doesn't have to mean. You're doing this right now?
I accused someone of stealing my box, and it appeared again now with my salted caramel pretzel pops. That was the only thing I was really missing.
Okay, let me see. I want to see the.
Just to give that a whiff.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
That.
Woo! That smells delicious. No, seriously, NatureBox is awesome. Trying to eat healthy does not mean that you have to give up on flavor. NatureBox is the true testament to that. They have vegan, they have no sugar added, non-GMO options. You can choose, your favorite type of snack. Do you want savory, sweet, salty, tart? They give you the whole spread there to choose from. You can choose from over 100 unique and tasty options like blueberry, almond, quinoa bites. There's coffee kettle popcorn. Plus, you can fill out your snack profile. And this is what you should do. You go to the site, you fill out your snack profile, the things that you like, and you'll get personalized recommendations based on your preferences because they have so many. So reading through the list is, you have to kind of test your patience because there's so many good options here. Let them kind of do some of the heavy lifting for you. And then, there's a little element of surprise there as well. The best part, NatureBox delivers right to your door. So you don't have to go anywhere for this. It's going to come right to you. You can fuel your game engine with healthy snacks. Visit naturebox.com/twit to get 50% off your first box right now. That's naturebox.com/twit. Go there and get 50% off your first box of delicious, personalized snacks sent right to your doorstep. And if you happen to be standing there, you can just grab the box out of the delivery guy's hands, rip it open, and start eating until the box is empty. We won't judge you.
No judgment, no.
Okay.
Well, TNT's fan of the day is at Cato Elson on Twitter, saying choices, as he shows 4 or 5 different screens, all showing the same high five from episode 1434. The trick is to the high five, look at the elbows.
Yeah.
Always.
And
also make that face.
I know. What I'm realizing in this is, man, my high five face is weird.
You have an awesome high five face. But I don't know because I'm looking at your elbow when we're high fiving.
I'm kind of creeped out a little bit by my high five face.
Show us how you watch or listen to TNT. Just record a video or take a picture of yourself or your setup and post it on Instagram, Google+, Twitter, or Facebook, and use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT, and we will find it. And please find one with Jason making a face.
Please don't. That's not going to be very difficult, by the way. I make faces all the time. Liberty, are we missing an important social network that we should be pulling our How I Watch TNT pictures from? Peach?
What networks are you currently using right now?
Well, Google+, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, you can't really, that's the thing about Snapchat is you can't really tag other people. And that's one of the great things about Snapchat, right? It's not really, I guess a Snapchat story is a way to promote yourself, but by and large, it seems like Snapchat
I think you're missing an opportunity there with Snapchat. Yeah. Snapchat is amazing. And I have to say, I was at a hackathon a week or so ago, and I met a young lady who had the most fascinating job I'd ever heard of ever in my life. And I said, "Oh, what are you doing over at this particular company?" She's a senior chatter. And I said, What is a senior chatter? She curates the content for Snapchat. That's what she does all day, every day. So you're missing an opportunity if you're not on that platform and you can't engage with people. Even though, like Jason said, it just kind of disappears and, oh, okay, it's gone. But you're constantly engaging, and the audience over there, they're looking for it. And the numbers are phenomenal. It's definitely a platform that you don't want to miss out on.
Okay.
And you guys aren't even active on Snapchat. I think you should be. And I think we're going to solve that actually right now.
Okay. I am on Snapchat, but I don't have my phone with me, so there's no way. But okay, good. Now we're on Snapchat.
Guys.
Everybody say, oh, I see. I want to pose for that camera. Hi.
There we go. We're live with Snap.
All right.
Excellent.
Snap that.
Could you make me
to
puking
us.
rainbows?
Yes, please. So let's see here. So Max Braun is a software engineer at Google. He was bummed out that there was no such thing as a bathroom mirror that integrates Google Now into its reflective surface. So he made one. Smart people at Google doing their smart things. It's a two-way mirror, display panel, controller board, a number of components, and arts and craft supplies. If you go all the way down to the, so this is what it looks like. And if you go there it is. So the weather and the clock are situated on both sides of where his head goes when he looks in the mirror. So, it matches the environment, so he doesn't have to dodge text on his mirror. Then if you go all the way to the bottom, it shows you kind of the components behind the mirror. It's impressive to me, because how on earth do you just know to connect this all up and make it happen? But it's a little wiry. And, probably tighten that up a little bit. Even he says it's a little too wiry for his taste. But this is so cool. Why do I feel like I need Google Now in my mirror? But I do now.
What about you, Liberty? Do you want a smarter mirror?
You know what? I think this is fantastic, but it really reminds me of when I had Google Glass. And I say had in past tense, but I still have it. But when I was so excited about Google Glass, and I was in the early beta, so I've had it for probably over 3 years now. And when I first received my glass, I loved just having the time displayed, pretty much like this gentleman's mirror, having the time displayed where I am and what the weather is. And that's exactly what you can see when you look at Google Glass. So coming from a Googler, he did the right thing.
Okay, I'm going to be the voice of dissent here. I find it incredibly creepy, and I know it's not logical, but I'm sure people said the same thing about Google Glass. But I know it's not logical, but I do not want a two-way mirror in my bathroom, even if it's just my medications and deodorant in the other side of the mirror.
On the other side of the mirror.
I know. I didn't say it was logical. I think it's creepy.
Just the thought that there's a two-way mirror in your bathroom.
The
I can
idea.
understand that.
What's happening, Megan? Like, what do you think is happening on the other side of that? Your cabinet.
The medication is plotting against Megan. And one of these days it's going to revolt.
I don't want Google Now in my bathroom either. And I understand that I'm a big proponent of the Amazon Echo, and that is a speaker that can listen to me at any time as long as I say her name. So I get it. I get that it's a slippery slope and I'm already heading off of it. But I don't want Google Now in my bathroom. And I also say that as someone with an Apple Watch, and I do shower with my Apple Watch, so I do sometimes get notifications in the shower. Okay. So maybe it's just Google. Maybe if it were an eye mirror.
Use Google Now, so that kind of freaks you out. So you don't use Google. I use Google Now. I love Google Now. So maybe that's it.
Yeah, I think of all the time. Okay, I try not to reveal too much. I think of all the time, like you're getting ready in the morning, and I have ideas. Ideas appear in my head, let's say when I'm in the shower, and I have nothing that I can do with that idea. I have to try and force myself to remember that idea until I'm done and I can get somewhere to write it down. That's not going to happen for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. And by that time, I forget I ever had an idea and I don't know what the idea was, and life goes on. If Google Now was in the bathroom, all I'd have to say is, okay, remind me to blah 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 blah, and it would remember. That is actually, that's why I need this.
Well, I can do that on my
That's why I
Apple
need
Watch.
this.
You can't do that on your.
I don't wear
smartwatch?
my watch in the shower. Are you crazy?
I love that idea, because I have a popular blog called The Power Shower. So if you have Power Shower and you have all these brilliant ideas, I would love it if Google Now could take that information and remember it for me.
This is
Excellent.
like
The power shower is like all the ideas you have in the shower, right? It's not a two-way mirror in the shower or anything like that.
It's the idea thought thought process. But I'm going to have to say, Megan, I disagree with you on this one.
Okay.
I think everyone should have the two-way mirror, definitely.
The Google Now mirror. Two-way mirror.
You're right.
If that's what it takes to facilitate a Google Now mirror, okay, I get it. But,
Yeah.
all right.
Google Now.
Oh, I have learned so much in this past hour. Liberty, thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell us where people can find you besides the Power Shower.
People can find me at libertymadison.com, but you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. I am at Liberty Madison everywhere at every platform. So pick your poison and I will be there.
Well, thanks. I'm going to friend you on Snapchat. Is that what you call it? Do you call it friend you on Snapchat?
Call it whatever you want, Megan.
Okay.
I just want Snapchat.
Okay.
How are
got
the
it.
kids saying I'm going to find you on the Snapchat? I'm going to snap you.
Yes.
Pretty much snap you.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Thank you, Liberty.
Thanks for
It's a
coming
pleasure
on.
having you
We'll
on.
see you soon.
You
All right,
too.
take care.
Bye.
Hey, tomorrow's guest might be familiar. I don't know. You ever heard of this girl, Sarah Lane? She used to do this show called Tech News Today on the Twit Network. She's gonna be our guest. She's now at TechCrunch and doing her own show over there. And I'm just so thrilled to get Sarah back over here. So
know.
she's gonna be on the show tomorrow, sitting in this mirror, staring at both of us, Megan.
In that two-way mirror.
Yes, exactly. This two-way mirror behind us. TNT records live every Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 12 a.m. UTC at twit.tv/live. You can be a part of the show by emailing us, and I hope that you do, tnt@twit.tv, or you can leave us a short voicemail, 260-TNT-SHOW. You can hit us up on Twitter. We are at Tech News Today TV.
And if you like us in your email, you can get behind-the-scenes gossip if you subscribe to our newsletter. Sign up at twit.tv/newsletter. And don't forget to subscribe to our show in iTunes or Stitcher or TuneIn. Any way you want to subscribe, Overcast, Undercast, all the casts, we're there.
Yeah.
All the ways to subscribe are there on our show page at twit.tv/TNT. And if you want to get in touch with me directly, I am on Twitter. I am at Megan Morrone.
And I am at Jason Howell. Thanks to our live producer, Anthony Nielsen, and everyone who helps us to produce the show every single day. And thanks to you for watching and talking tech with us. We will see you tomorrow. And I'm not going to make a face.